All right, so the second topic here, I'm going to talk about my personal opinion about AI or artificial intelligence when it comes to writing, publishing books, or just writing in general, seeing that as I am a writer, three-time self-published author. So I definitely have the credentials and just the knowledge, honestly, to talk about this situation here. I know I've mentioned in the past about, briefly in the past, about my thoughts about AI or artificial intelligence. And here is the opportunity for me to go in full depth about my feelings about it. So, if you don't know, or you might remember, I've mentioned that I'm actually a fan of AI. I'm not threatened by it. I understand why people are. I understand the dangers of it. I understand if we as human beings are not careful, it can turn into the various fears that people have about it, but we're still early. We are still very early, and things haven't turned to those types of levels yet. And we can prevent that by simply just taking the proper cautious actions and not allowing AI to get to the level of where it's taking jobs from human beings, because it can only get to that level if we allow it to get to that level. You know, I understand there's businesses out there that are trying to implement more so AI and less human beings. Well, you as a consumer, as a human being, you can choose not to support a business like that, meaning do not buy your groceries from there. Do not buy whatever you want they sell. Don't just don't purchase whatever they're selling. Don't spend your money at that business. And they will turn quickly and say, "Hey, listen, we're not going to use AI," or they're going to try to limit the usage of AI and say, okay, we'll use it, but this is still going to be a people-centered business that runs on people, the work labor of people. We're going to pay them fairly, and AI is simply just going to be used as a tool to aid in whatever job positions this AI tool can aid with. And that's what I mentioned in the past as to why I personally am a fan of AI is it's just another tool for human beings to use for productivity usage. Really. At the end of the day, I'm never going to step on an advancement like that because of some fear other people have, or some fears that I might think are valid, fears that I don't personally, I guess, have at the moment, but I do see them, like I said before, I do see them being a thing. There's the other aspect outside of the fear as to why I believe that a lot of people are afraid of AI, in particular when it comes to other creative writers or authors, and especially, is because, or people who want to make money off of books and stuff. It's because, or just writing in general, it's because they just want to use AI as a hustle, and that hustle is being exposed. You know what I'm saying? Like that hustle being, oh, I wrote this, or I'm writing this, or I wrote this book and I published 100 books in a year. And it's like, did you really write all of this in a year? Because anyone who truly is writing knows that it takes time to not only write one book, but it takes time to even write a chapter. You might take you months before you even finish a chapter, if that, if not that, less than a month or so. Um, but also, definitely, as far as writing a book in a year, it's either the sorry, I'm just gonna say it. It's either the lowest quality book ever, or again, you're using something like a chat GBT to churn out some scripts, to churn out some books, ideas, or whatever chat you're using, and then you're just simply slapping a cover onto it, using AI for that as well, and then putting the book together and then selling it on whatever place you are selling the book, which is most likely Amazon, you know, that being the more popular place where people go to buy books nowadays. It's not the only place, but it's the more popular one. Nonetheless, I'm not going to allow people's irrational fears or even rational fears, but their fears aren't even like they're not real. They're not real at this moment. And I'm also not going to allow people who just want to con the game of writing, just add writing to another hustle of theirs to push out books. I'm not going to allow these people to ruin my thoughts on AI or just my thoughts on myself in general. Another aspect that I forgot to mention that I'll mention here as to why I believe people don't like AI. Again, why writers specifically don't like AI. It's because they fear it. And as I was stating before, I'm not like insecure about AI writing a better story than I do. I'm not insecure about we all have imposter syndrome as creators, but definitely creative writers. But my imposter syndrome doesn't go as deep as I'm fearing somebody who's going to chat GBT a book once again, or some other AI tool a book, as opposed to creation of my own. Now, this is the book that I have. This is my book that I just recently released, Late Nights on Broadway. Um, Link in the description box below. If you want this copy, you can also get an e-copy of this book as well. As you can see, this is the do not sell version. So this is just like the physical version that I get for my books, that to show people, hey, this is my book. This is not the version that I mean, this is the version as far as like you're gonna see this cover, you're gonna see the back cover, look at my pretty face, all that. But you're gonna get all that minus the do not for resale version of this book, because this specific physical copy, and this is for um the people who are watching on YouTube. Audio listeners, you can do the same thing. Hit the link in the description box below, because my book link will be down there as well. And I will greatly appreciate that. But, as far as have I've used AI, um, and those who are afraid of getting caught, if your hustle is, I'm going to churn out books and stuff, I'm not going to stop anyone. I'm not going, I have my personal feelings. I think that's a lame way of trying to make money. But it's not surprising at all. You gonna do what you gonna do. Um, but as far as have I used Chat GBT before? Yes, I've used Chat GBT before. Every morning I do a tarot card reading for myself. Okay. When I do the reading, I go based off of my interpretation of the reading, and then I type in the cards that come up within the reading, and I type that into Chat GBT, and then they give me their interpretation or its interpretation of the reading. Sometimes I'm like, let me take bits and pieces of that and then I journal about it. Or I'm like, I like my interpretation better, and therefore, thanks for the second opinion. Because that's what it really is at the end of the day. That's what I use it for. It's just for like a second opinion on the cards that were pulled up, for me in the morning. Okay. That's one reason I use ChatGPT. Another reason I use ChatGPT is for a search engine. I think that ChatGPT and other AI tools are far better search engines than the actual search engines that we have now. And Google, I know they installed their own AI search engine. That thing is it's better than Facebook's. I'll give it that. It's better than Facebook's AI search engine because that thing is terrible. But Google's search engine was already, you know, it was being used because it was the only option for the longest. And then other search engines came, of course, but then it was like, I'm so used to Google and it's in all the devices that I use anyway. So it's like I might as well use it. But then their AI search engine was 50-50. Half the time it gave me the answers I was looking for, the other half of the time it did not. ChatGPT has been like at least 98% accurate as far as giving me an answer for whatever I was looking for. Now I still use Google because I use the free version of ChatGPT, and that's not going to churn out images or article links and things of that nature like Google does, you know? So that's why I still use Google for specific things. But as far as a search engine, ChatGPT has taken over. Sorry, Google, if you feel a way about it, it is what it is. That's just my personal preference. I'm just one individual. There is one more reason as to why I use ChatGPT, and it's outside of spirituality, it's outside of curiosity as well. It is to actually write the book descriptions of my books. Okay. Now, when I say write it, here's what I do. I actually still write it down. I create the book description, but I am terrible. Me personally, I don't think I'm good at describing my books. I know it's weird. It's like, how can you not describe something you've made? My thing is, I would, I think it's best uh for me to tell you to for you to read it yourself, and then you get a grand sense of the book. And the only reason why I say I'm bad at describing the book is because I feel like even my descriptor, my little elevator pitch about the book or movie or whatever that I'm pitching, it does not do it justice. It does not do the entire story justice. So I really want folks to just read it for themselves, read it, watch it for themselves, for them to understand what this story is about. So, but I understand that book descriptions, show descriptions, movie descriptions, these things are a thing. And I have to write them no matter how bad I think I am at doing so. So I still end up writing them, but then I use ChatGPT to spruce it up to make it sound better than I wrote it. And most of the time, they just change words here and there, and a few sentences are made to sound better. To be honest with you, it doesn't take away from what I was saying. It doesn't necessarily add anything like add to the story. It takes every single detail that I put within my own description, and it just rewords and the details to make it sound more marketable, better in my opinion. And I think that if you use that as again, this is a tool to assist somebody. Every other word, like the only words for the visual listeners out there, these are the only words created by AI. And technically, it was still written by me, but these are the only sentences, I guess, structured by AI, if you want to call it that. Everything else in this book was written by yours truly. I did not create this book via AI. I didn't even create the art via AI. I know that's the thing as well. I use Canva. I use my graphic art skills to create the cover, and that's what I did. I created this book from top to bottom essentially. And again, the description was written by me originally. It was just edited by Chat GBT. Because that's essentially what I had it do, was edit the description. And that's about it. For the authors who are like, how are you still able to sell your book? It's because Amazon and the other places don't necessarily, I know for Amazon, I can't speak for the other places, but my book is not has not been removed from any of the other stores, and that's because I was honest about how much AI influence this book has, or how much of AI was used in creation of this book and what I used it for. When you are creating a book on Amazon, they will ask you how much of AI is being, if you, one, they'll ask you if you did use AI to create any of the content of this book. You could click yes or no. I am all I'm gonna say is be honest. Be honest, because I don't know what happens if you lie and they detected that AI was used. Okay. If you click yes, like I did, they will then ask you for like a percentage of the book. I think it was like anywhere between like 10, 15, 25, or 100% of like pretty much a percentage amount of the book that you use. It wasn't even like a percentage wise, it was like a couple sentences that described those types of percentages, and then I believe that you're able to at least type in a little bit of what you use AI for. Case, the point of the matter is I was honest and I said it was like less than, it's like less than 5% of, or about 5%. Well, it's one back, it's the description in the back cover of the book, or the back of the book, really. So it's not necessarily like 5%, but there is a part of the book where I used AI. Again, I use AI to help, edit what I wrote. And then that was that. Amazon did not, say like you can't sell your book because you're not a legitimate author in our eyes. No other platform said anything about it. So this idea that you're going to get caught, and I'm bringing this up because I actually follow a author who I initially subscribed to her video because I was looking on how to create book trailers for my books, because I wanted to create a book trailer for, again, this recent release. And I loved her video. Um, but then I went on her page and then I saw that, and again, this is an older video too, but I love the tutorial and stuff. Um, I went on her page and I saw what she was doing up to date, and it was more so trying to get people, authors especially, I guess, or just people in general who want to, again, hustle literature, you want to go make money quick and make a quick buck, writing books. She was advising folks on how they can do that via AI, meaning how to create the book via AI, and how to create the, whether it be the text or the cover, all that stuff. She stopped doing something. She stopped, or she slowed down. Let me put it that way. She slowed down since then because of Amazon's crackdown on AI. Um, I think that she was getting through, she and the other people she had, doing this con game essentially, were getting cracked down upon. And now she put out an update like a couple weeks ago. I'm not going to say the woman's name, but she put out an update like a couple weeks ago talking about, hey guys, I'm still around. It's just I'm looking for ways to get around this system, essentially. So I'm like, damn, girl, like, why you? And it's not that she can't write, it's not that she can't do it. It's just you have these writers, authors in general, who feel like they're not good enough, or feel like, oh, if I just keep putting out material, something is going to stick and that's one thing is going to sell. But I can't just write all the damn time or produce at a rapid pace. So I got to use AI for that. And maybe one of these stories is going to stick. And that could possibly happen. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm the type of creator in general, but I'm the type of writer where I can't do that. Like my stories mean a lot to me because it's like I created them. I'm so proud of the stuff that I write because it's like, wow, I created this thing. I was so proud of this book. No matter how tired I was of reading it, I know it from front to back, you know what I'm saying? And not because I wrote it, but because I read my own damn book for so much. But it's like during the editing process and during just, the process of reading it in general. So like, but aside from me being tired of my own story in a good way because I've already overread it or whatever, but I'm proud. I'm proud of the work I did. And I'm sorry, I can't just do that with AI. It's not like I haven't experimented with it. I'm gonna be honest with y'all because other people aren't honest, and that's my whole thing. This book would never see the light of day. But I did just to see how it was, just to see how it would work out. I did essentially like create a book again, never see the light of day, but I did essentially create a book out of AI, out of artificial intelligence. I used again AI completely created the book, the description. The only difference is I created the cover. I didn't use AI to create the cover, but I could have because I know of AI softwares that can create pictures of anything I say create a picture of. I use that stuff in the past for just other artwork, but nothing related to, again, my books. All of my books, I've always designed my covers. My books, my trailers, my covers to anything, I've always designed it myself. I've really only just used AI picture apps and stuff to either create pictures of myself or for I just recently did it for my other YouTube channel, my personal page, ES the Hermit Star, the page I was telling y'all about. I'll leave that link in the description box below as well. That's the channel where you can get the ins and outs of what I'm doing, just me in general. Not my opinion on things per se, but just all about me. That channel right there. The art that I created for that channel was created with AI and it was done purposeful because I'm not that good of a graphic artist to create a picture of me looking like a hermit and then all this other stuff. Maybe I'll get to working on it and then change that profile picture, but that was it. You know what I'm saying? I've used AI art to either create myself or create something that was symbolic of myself. Everything else that I've created, graphic arts wise, was me. But again, um, as I was stating with this whole con game, I think and I'm calling it a con game because you're putting it out there as if like this lady, and I doubt the people who followed her advice are actually admitting that they used AI to publish this book. You just have to know who she is. And it's typically just other writers and other authors who are following her, not necessarily people who I don't know her following. It might be people who are genuinely just book lovers, still following her to the point where they're following, following her YouTube. But I assume it's other authors like myself who initially followed her because she had a great tutorial on how to make a book trailer, you know? And she didn't use AI, she used her skills. It wasn't like how to make a book trailer with AI, even though I'm not against that as well. And I want to make it clear. I personally, as I stated before, I tried creating a book with AI just to see how it was. I personally didn't feel good. I didn't feel like the book represented me. It had my voice. Granted, I said use humor in the book, and it was humorous. And there are certain things where it's like I would word it that way, or I would say that, but it just did not feel right, to be honest with you. It didn't feel like it was something that I wrote, although I technically was the one that gave the idea of the book. I told ChatGPT to rewrite the words and their way, and or whatever the case is on the subject matter that I chose to write that book on. And again, it's just still did not feel like it was me, and I didn't feel comfortable putting it out there. So that's why you see this book and not that book, you know. Um, and that's just me. That's just me. I don't want to make it seem as though I'm shitting on AI. Because, like I said, my personal feelings is it's a tool that can help us, and I'm never gonna stomp on technology simply because people are afraid or insecure. You know, fear and insecurity is not how you go about. It's not insecurity is just not something that happens to uh Ninja Turtles. It happens to um human beings who don't necessarily value themselves or see the value within themselves. I personally want to tell any author out there, I mean, you're going to do what you want to do at the end of the day. But me personally, it's like, why did you get into writing in the first place? If you're now going to let this new advancement called artificial intelligence speak for you, what was your purpose in being an author or being a writer in the first place? Because if you're as old as me, you've been living longer than a chat GPT or any other text-based artificial intelligence software. So therefore, if you've been living as long as me or longer or even a little less you know, little younger or so, you're still older than ChatGPT, which means if you've been living that long and you've had a passion for writing, how come you're not going to continue that passion and stuff? Because ChatGPT came around. And I'm asking that for the writers who are afraid of things like ChatGPT, or in writers who are now just gonna not write ever in their life, and they're just going to use ChatGPT or any other AI software to write their books and then put it out there. That's just my genuine question to y'all. Again, y'all can feel however you want to feel. I'm not saying that people have to feel the way that I feel about AI or just any of this. I'm giving you all my opinion on it, as the title states, as the podcast states in general, you know? So that's that. And yeah. So I do have one more topic to talk about. So stay tuned.